So Will Levis will not go his entire career without winning a football game as the Titans lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Had his first taste at, I wouldn't say his first taste at a good defense, because we definitely saw Atlanta play well in weeks past, not against the Titans though. First time at the NFL level being in a tough situation, and it went all right. There were certainly some good plays. I would still say this is actually a pretty solid game from Will Levis, despite the not very, high score and the loss attached to it. So let's get into film and talk about why I feel that way. Let's start off with this play. This is, I feel like, his first, real good play of this game, I thought. It's once again, of course, going to be a Hopkins pass. But this is a good play call by the Titans where, Titans kept committing penalties. It's now a 1st and 23. They're at their own, inside the 5-yard line. I can't tell. I guess it's technically the 5, but in a weird spot. But in between the 4 and 5-yard line, you see the route Hopkins is running. Watch as, when Levis takes the snap, Hopkins is going to get past the linebacker covering him. That's right. Because Hopkins was lined up as a slot receiver and it's zone coverage, this now means you get him one-on-one against a linebacker. This is good stuff by the Titans, and we're seeing more and more teams do this, right? Don't just put your best receiver on the outside. Don't be afraid to bring them in towards the slot. And we're even seeing some defenses counter that by sometimes moving their, corners into the inside and those types of situations. But in zone, you're not very likely to do that. And for the Steelers, they don't do that. You see Hopkins. It's a one-on-one matchup. He's not wide open right now, but again, the matchup-wise, he's going to get open. And also, sorry, it's a little bit not the highest quality right now. It will get better. Amazon sometimes is weird when I try to screen record the clips off of Amazon Prime. But anyways, watch what happens. Levis is going to really just throw a perfect football, and then Hopkins does what Hopkins does, and they're able to pick up a first down on 1st and 23. So really good stuff by Hopkins on that play. So this is what we knew was going to happen, right? We knew that Hopkins was going to be someone who was going to get a lot of looks. I mean, Kyle and I joked about on the podcast where Will Levis is just going to throw it up to Hopkins basically every play, and there was some of that. This one, it was a one-on-one matchup, and Levis has his decision made. He knows where he's going with the football. There's a single safety deep. You see Hopkins' route on the outside. There's no question what he's going to do. As you see, Levis takes the snap. It's one-on-one. Joey Porter is actually the guy who's covering Hopkins on this play. There isn't a lot of separation, but again, for Will Levis, clearly part of his strategy is just put the ball in the area of Hopkins. It's a 3rd down and 8. It's not a bad strategy. On this one, though, did not quite work out. So, you're not going to have him work out every single time, right? There's going to be some good, there's going to be some bad. That's just how it works. But again, that's the philosophy that Levis is bringing to the table here. This play was, I would say, not great. And this was a thing. We already know the Titans' offensive line isn't the best. And then when you have a bunch of injuries, that makes things really worse, especially when you're going up against Pittsburgh, who is obviously a great pass rushing team, debatably the best pass rushing team in football. They're certainly up there. As you see, Levis is going to run a play action, but now there is pressure right in his face. So this isn't his fault. But, it's one of those things where I think for young quarterbacks, part of what you look at isn't just what do you do when things do well. It's when things are going poorly, how do you minimize damage? Watch as Levis is getting sacked, he throws the football backwards. That's just straight up what he did. Now, he was down before the ball came out, so a little lucky there. But still, what are you doing trying to throw the football there? And he also got, turned around to the point where he was, he threw the ball backwards. I'm assuming he was trying to get the ball to Derrick Henry on that one. That's just a play you can't make here in the NFL level. It's a lesson he has to learn that, when you go down quickly here. Don't make those mistakes. It's not worth the, a potential check down on that play. Sure, maybe, you would have gotten some yards on that play, but the odds of it actually working out positive are very slim. The odds of it working out in a negative way were very high, and it nearly cost them even more yards on that play. Of course, there even was the potential of, on this play, it wouldn't have been a fumble, even if it didn't roll out of bounds, because Henry was closest to it, so you assume he would have picked it up. But even so, it could have bounced in a weird direction. It is a weird-shaped ball. Maybe a Steelers player picks it up. Just got to be careful with that, Will Levis does. I want to talk about this play though, because a lot of people said after his first performance in last week for the Titans, a lot of people said, okay, yes, you were able to hit the open guys down the field, but can you do more of these traditional over the middle type plays? Something like this, where it's cover 2 zone, and you see the receiver's route and how it's going to get into a gap in coverage. Watch as when Levis takes the snap, you're going to see that, listen, I'm not saying this is a mailbox throw or anything, but it's a tough throw. You have to time it well. I'm using this angle because the broadcast angle makes it look like it's wide open, but when you see it here, you got to get it over to players over the middle. You can't throw it too high or the defensive back can come in and try and make a play. And as you see, this is going to be a really well-thrown ball by Will Levis, and he definitely had these where he would just, again, having maybe a medium-sized window and being able to hit those throws like what he was able to do here. And those are obviously, in my opinion, kind of the more important ones. Like, yes, it's great when DeAndre Hopkins, he's down the field and no one's within 20 yards of him. Like, that's cool. That's not going to happen every game. These types of situations are going to happen every game. So being able to hit on them is really important. Let's go over to this one. This one was a dangerous play that ultimately ended up being okay. It was incomplete. So, hey, sometimes incompletions are worse than maybe what the stat sheet would show. That's what, in my opinion, happened here, as it's a one-on-one matchup on the outside, right? We'll watch how when Levis takes the snap, he's going to look over there. He fires over there. And on 3rd down and 8, it's kind of one of those situations where, again, this is part of just being in the NFL longer. You realize it. This is not that tough of a read for the corner to make, right? You kind of know, okay, that's where the first down marker is. Good chance someone could be sitting right at the first down marker, and he is going to jump this route right here for Levis. Again, it's hard. It's a good defensive play, but these are just kind of, you have to understand where corners are at and which throws you can't make, which throws you can make. I mean, at this situation, it looks like it's going to be a disaster. It isn't. It ends up being incomplete. It was a good enough throw that, if it was a little bit lower, that probably is going to be an interception. And honestly, had pick 6 potential there. So still a throw I would advise against. And again, it's one of those in 3rd down and 8 with DeAndre Hopkins with a one-on-one matchup, because that is the player who was on that side of the field. You probably know that the ball's going in that direction, right? Pretty good chance that the ball's going in that direction, and on that play, it went in that direction, and this time it was a good defensive play. So I should give credit. That was Patrick Peterson, a couple of legends who were maybe at the tail end of their career, both going against each other, Peterson and Hopkins. So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts. Again, was this an ideal performance from Will Levis? No, but again, you're not going to get those 4 touchdown performances every single day, right? Like, that's not what you're expecting as a Titans fan. Sure, last week was awesome. You're just hoping he can come in and play solid football, and so far he's doing that. So for a rookie quarterback, this is a good performance. Like, if it wasn't for last week, we'd all look at this performance and say, hey, played pretty well. It's just obviously expectations got raised a little bit when he lit up the stat sheet last week. Didn't happen again here, but I still think this was overall a good performance from the Titans, albeit a disappointing loss. That's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.